Hey y'all. So as usual, I'm just gonna kind of jump right into what I want to talk about. At the end of the podcast, there's this comparison that's like really hard for me to ignore, where adults across the country are arguing about whether schools have litter boxes for kids that identify as cats. And I totally remember hearing about this. Like even one of my family members was in a total fit about it. Because they were having like serious debates, news coverage, politicians talking about it. But like when it was actually investigated, it's not real. That's not a thing that's happening. The reason for the litter in the schools, if in case you didn't watch it, was for lockdown situations, for school shootings, so the kids have somewhere to go to the bathroom. So like not only was that rumor just completely false, but everyone focused on that instead of the reality of why they have cat litter in schools. It's also good for cleaning up throw up. So, But that's what the podcast wrap up was like really calling out. They spent all this time arguing about something fake when the real issue was gun violence in schools. It's like so normal that they're literally preparing for it. So anyway, that wasn't the main conversation because the people that are actually living through this daily, the students, they don't ask. They don't even, no one's asking how it feels to live in such a prepared environment for a shooting. No one's worried about what matters to them. Adults in this situation are just talking over them and deciding for them like what's actually going on in their reality. So there's also all this focus on what teens should or shouldn't be exposed to. Like books get challenged and banned, topics get labeled as too much, explicit content is at least claimed, and stories get filtered to be... I'm sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable. I'm in my window seat and it's not comfortable. I need to fix that. Stories get filtered to be more appropriate. Try again. But it doesn't really make any sense because how do you decide what is appropriate for teens if you're not asking them? Like as an author, editor, publisher, or just a reviewer of content or of the creative work itself, how do you target an audience you don't understand? And that's why the best young adult books really stand out, because they're not safe or perfectly approved, but because they make their audience feel seen and understood. It makes me think of the overly popular Hunger Games and why it connects so well with the young adult audience. Like, it's probably not the best example, but that's what came to mind first, so that's what I was going to talk about. The Capitol is distracting everyone with something dramatic, the games. And it's loud and emotional and impossible to ignore. Kind of like a kid wanting to use a litter box. But the characters in that are focused on that, not the real problems like the violence, the inequality, the control, and survival. All of that's just accepted. It's just glossed over. And that's where it feels familiar because it shows what happens when the people in power, whether it's the politicians, the councils, even if it's just the parent, the person in control, in power, controls the narrative. And we also see it in A Tempest of Tea because the characters are navigating these systems that weren't really built for them. Like their voices aren't what's shaping the rules. They're dealing with this power, survival, identity, and it's not comfortable, but it's real. That they don't avoid this reality to seem appropriate. These books don't, I mean. It's reflected, so the reader feels understood, and they're more engaged with the content that way. And that's kind of what the podcast is pointing out at the end, is that this fake issue gets all the attention when the real issue, which is gun violence, is pushed in the background. And the people that are being affected by it most are just left completely out of the conversation. So, relating back, when it comes to young adult literature, maybe the goal shouldn't be deciding what's appropriate for them. Because the stories that matter, the ones we remember, are the ones that make these kids feel seen and heard. Like, if we're ignoring what they're dealing with, and not understanding what their reality is, then we're not protecting them. We're just missing the point.